Welcome back to the Words from the Nerds podcast. I am once again joined by my wonderful host, co-host, Charlie, aka It's Cupson, and we are here today to talk about Miss Marvel episode 5. And I kind of want to start off while I have my thoughts fresh. I wrote down everything I liked about the episode, but I didn't write down my gripes with it. So while they're fresh on my mind, I kind of want to get them out there because I, I didn't hate this episode, but I really didn't like it. Um, it's just I feel like this would have worked way better as an episode 4. You know, if we got this, there's no way I can look at this episode and I'm sorry, I didn't even introduce you. Charlie, why don't you tell us how you're doing today, bro?
You got it. You got it covered. You got it covered.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. It's a bit of a just to give you like a little tease for my thoughts, guys. It's a little bit of a bummer because I hope for something a little bit better from this, especially after I just feel like it's been going a little bit downhill, and it's a little disheartening because the first 3 episodes were so good. But no, yeah, other than that, doing great. We got some great games tonight. But so
yeah, sorry about that.
no, you're fine.
Yeah, but like I said, there's no way I can look at this and see it as a penultimate episode. She doesn't have her suit at all yet. The clandestines are just done for, so we have Kamran that we have to still transition into a villain somehow if that is the route they're going. And then if they do go the damage control route, I mean, they were what in the first like 2.5 episodes, and then that's it. So how are you just going to bring them back and have them be the main villains? I really don't know how we get to all of this in one episode. Here's the way I would kind of not fix this season, but this is what I kind of wanted. After the first 3 episodes, this is what I wanted. I wish you would have stayed in Jersey City. I wish the villain would have been something with little to no stakes at all. Think something like Spider-Man Homecoming, but even lesser than that. And just be all about her finding her powers, the whole family and friends aspect. I feel like once we got away from Bruno and Nakia, or I mean, what even I even forget her name now, just because we got away from them for so long, and everything at the mosque and everything at school, once we get away from that, I feel like that's when the episode went downhill. And then you throw in these villains that are like gonna end the world, and it's like, dude, she just got her quote unquote powers, like she barely knows how to use them. And now that y'all are throwing her into this big, world-ending thing on the other side, on the other side of the pond. I wish we could have just had this be in Jersey City, been a story about Kamala finding herself and finding, getting used to her powers, and just little to no stakes at all. One of the things I hate the most, one of the things I don't like the most, I won't use the word hate because I did enjoy this for the first 3 episodes. But one of the things I really don't like are the villains. And we talked about it last week. And I feel like this week, it just made it worse. It's just so bad. The CGI skeleton crumbling down. It just wasn't good. And it was just all rushed. I know you said the back half of the episode was just so rushed. And yeah, it totally was. And I just felt like I kind of feel like they don't really either something happened production wise, or they just really think they have a good story on their hands, because and this brings me back to the whole gripe I had with Falcon and Winter Soldier, because really it was exactly what these past couple episodes have been. But for all season of Falcon and Winter Soldier, almost all season, with the Flag Smashers, I was just kind of especially that last episode, it's just you kill Carly, and we're supposed to feel sympathetic for her after she blew up a building with people inside, and then you expect Sam Wilson or Captain America to you expect us to believe that he actually feels bad for her. I get it, she was a kid, but she were they not a group of terrorists? You know, but it just brings me back to that, because that's the feeling I'm getting here is the same feeling I was getting back then, and I was really pulling through for Miss Marvel. But yeah, man, I just to sum it up and get your thoughts, I did like most parts of this episode. I think the thing that really brings it down is, one, it didn't feel like a penultimate, because you have to wrap up so much in like 40 to 50 minutes next episode, which just means the pacing is going to be out of this world insane. And two, the villains, bro. I mean, I love Kamala. I love her family. I love the partition stuff. I love getting to know all this stuff and learn. The clandestines just kind of bring all that down for me. And so, I this is definitely the weakest of the five. I mean, I said after my first watch, or like, after watching it earlier, I still thought it was better than episode 4. But like, kind of, getting to sit on it and talk to you about it, there's just a lot of stuff that I didn't like in regards to like the villains and everything. And that's just, I mean, a villain is one of your biggest roles in these shows and stuff. And if you can't nail that, it's going to be hard to nail down everything else.
Yeah. I want to touch on something I completely forgot that you brought up, was the thing with Nakia. And like, I feel like that's still a big thing that hasn't been talked about. And I get that they're side characters, and a lot of people would say they're side characters. The show's called Miss Marvel. It doesn't really matter, but that's still integral to Kamala's story. That is her best friend, or one of her best friends, because Bruno is also, but that is one of her best friends. And Kamala lied to her, did not tell her about her powers. I want to know how that affects Nakia. I want to know how that affects the relationship. But yet it's been 2 episodes, and it led me to completely forget that even happened. That's bad. That is not good. I can't believe there wasn't even any. Well, I will say Kamala was stuck in the past, I guess, for a while with the Bengal, but still, there was no, like, after that all wrapped up, there was no text messages sent to Nakia again. There was nothing like that. I wanted the villains as well. Yeah, you're right. I think the villains are probably the second most important element of any film, TV show, whatnot. And then these just felt so rushed. It felt so rushed. And I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt in episode 3 when it felt rushed for them to attack Kamala as well. I was giving them the benefit of the doubt because, like, I know a lot of people say, oh, you waited hundreds of years. You can't wait like a week or so. But like, they waited 100 years. I'll give it to them. Like, they probably are super impatient. I'll give that to them. But this is just, for a fraction of a second, what's her name, girl? I keep forgetting. Najma. Yeah. She, for a fraction of a second, is like, all right, time to go home. And then I get that she has a kid and everything like that, but I feel like they never set up their relationship well. She was willing to abandon her kid for this mission. And then all of a sudden, it takes 2 words. I will say it was an emotional scene. I will give them that. The way, I think, and I'm praising Iman Vellani because she is fantastic. She delivered it amazingly. She was like, well, then go get him and go, like, that hit for me. Chills, borderline tears. It was really great. But then if you look at the greater context of the scene, it's just, it feels so flat and disingenuous to me. She never cared about her kid. I never saw an emotional beat with her and her kid. Every conversation I saw with her and Kamran, it was her telling him, we need to get Kamala, we need to kill her, we need to do this, I'm leaving you behind, you made your choice, and it's like, it makes no sense to me that we're here. I didn't feel the lead up to this at all. Again, it was still an emotional scene. And I will also give the scene, Aiden and I were talking a little bit about this before we started recording. I liked it because that was like our first look at Terrigenesis, which is an Inhuman thing. If you guys don't know, if you're not an Inhuman and you come in contact with the Terrigen mist, or anything like a Terrigen rock or something like that, if you're not an Inhuman, you will turn to rock or turn to crystal just like that and then die. And I feel like they were playing with that by not letting Kamala touch it at all, because I don't think she's going to touch it and get her stretchy powers. I think if anything, it'll be just like Kamran now. She'll touch it and then she'll get these crystal powers permanently with inside her. She won't have to rely on the Bengal anymore. But but at the same time, I kind of doubt that, because they clearly made the connection between the Bengal and then the 10 rings with the last episode, the beginning of the last episode. So I imagine also that the Bengal might still stay around somehow, but that's besides the point. They just got rid of the villains incredibly quick. It was it's so crazy to me that that was like a great idea. I don't want to talk. I can't write anything. Okay. I'll preface that, guys. I'm not a good writer, but it baffles me that that was what came out of the writing room right there. It's like, okay, we'll just rush this and make Kamran the bad guy for the finale. Somehow it seems like that's what they're leading up to. Obviously, damage control is still a part of it. Obviously, they're still searching Kamran down, but they've taken such a backseat too that it would feel weird for them to just come up out of nowhere again. Like, why didn't they try to follow the clandestines to Pakistan? That doesn't line up to me. I get that they maybe don't have jurisdiction there, maybe, which I think that's perfectly explainable. But I mean, hopefully they will explain that. But I don't know, man. There's so many things that just didn't work for me, and I will talk about the things that did work for me as well. But it's just also, oh yeah, I want to jump to the final scene. Speaking of Kamran, the final scene had to be like that was. I didn't like the at Loki episode 3, I didn't like the cliffhanger there. I felt like that felt rushed. This was more rushed than that. And that is crazy to me. He shot the drone, took 1 second, 1 frame to shoot the drone. Drone flies down, shoots a missile. That's 1 frame, another frame. And then Bruno falls down and says, you have powers too? What the hell? Or something, whatever he said. And then it immediately cuts. And that was the end. What is like that? That feels like such a contrived. I don't even know if I'm using that word right, but hey, screw it. That feels like such a contrived and another, again, rushed thing. And it's like, I feel like that is like the theme, like Aiden mentioned, like this, we're going to go into this episode and it's going to be like Moon Knight for me. Moon Knight was super rushed, the finale. And I think a lot of people can agree with that. The finale was so rushed. There were so many things to finish, but at the same time, this kind of also felt like a finale to me. I was telling Aiden this before. It seemed like they were wrapping up all these relationships between Kamala and her Ami and her Nani. They had a great working relationship. Her Ami found out that she has, these crystal powers. She's the crystal girl from New Jersey. And her mother immediately accepted it, which I also felt like that was a little ham-fisted to me too. It's like she literally said her mother should be disappointed, like 2 episodes. Whoever the mother of this crystal girl should be disappointed in herself for the way she parented or something. And
I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think so. I thought that too. I will say in that moment, I did tear up. Everything with Ami and Nani and everything. It did hit hard, and it was a very emotional moment. I think the only reason why she accepted it so fast was because she saw proof that, Aisha contacted her and that, her whole life and her mom with these conspiracy theories was actually true. That's what I took away from it. I could be totally wrong. I just took it as like, she sees that her mom's conspiracy theories are true, and her daughter is a product of that, which makes her somewhat proud of her. But now that I say it out loud, maybe not. So
no, I can see that.
I'm in a gray area. But yeah, continue.
No, I could see that. That brought more clarity to it than I ever brought to it, which, that's my bad. But I could see that, like, in a way, she sort of saw that Najma like kind of derailed her life and she had no choice. And the Bengal kind of like called to her, and then she realized her mother. And I guess it touches, even with you saying that, it touches on what happened last episode a bit better. And which is why I agree. I was going to say also, like, this is emotion. It was an emotional scene and I loved it. There's lots of great scenes in this episode, but at the end of the day, great scenes don't make great episodes, at least to me. And which is why I love the TASM 2 Gwen death scene. I thought it was beautiful the way it was handled. But again, it's still not the greatest movie. But looking at that, I think you're right. Like, it touched, like she said, I didn't need your theories. I just needed my mother. And then like her mom, she realizes her mom's theories, like, they weren't just crazy, and she wasn't trying to like mess her life up as a child, So I can see that, and I agree with that. So I guess I won't harp on that. But this, we talked about this also before. I know I'm talking a long time. I'm kind of going on my soapbox. But we talked about this when she talks to the Red Dagger guy. Don't even remember his name. But that's probably a fault of mine. That's not fault of the show. But after the whole battle, she goes up, starts talking to that guy, and he says he would be so proud of you, referencing Waleed. And I'm like, what? And they try to play this as an emotional scene, and they have lots of other emotional scenes in this show, like in the beginning, the partition stuff. Wow, that was hard hitting. That was crazy. Yeah. But then you go to this, and it's like, I don't care about Waleed. You let me see him for 10 minutes. I saw the dude for 10 minutes, and I knew he was gonna die. I don't see what Kamala is supposed to take away from that. Like, she didn't know him her whole life. It was literally 10 minutes. and then they went in a chase scene together and he died. So like I don't know why they tried to play that off. And we talked about in our Kenobi episode. I think this was a little bit. I said this also before recording. In our Kenobi episode, it's kind of like the Wade thing, but I think this one is a little bit better handled than the Wade thing because like we got to know Waleed a little bit first, and then but in Kenobi, it's just like Wade's just this random dude that died, and I have no idea like why they feel sad. But yeah, there's a lot of things that fall short for me, and I know I've like hounded on this show, this episode. Sorry, I love the first 3 episodes of the show, and there's elements of 4 that I love too. Also, I want to talk about visual style was missing. I missed it this episode. Yeah, I didn't see any like cool text messages the way they popped up. I didn't see any hearts made of blurs surrounded by her. You know, like the individuality that this show brought within the first 3 and 4 episodes was not here. It wasn't here anymore. And I get that there was a time and place for it. Like probably don't need to do anything like that in the partition scenes. Yeah. Absolutely. But you know, she's talking to like, oh wait, actually, you know what? Never mind. I remember the conversation we had. I completely forgot the conversation we had 1 or 2 episodes ago. Like she's becoming herself now. Like she's becoming more powerful. She's realizing the responsibility she has, and so she can't be a kid anymore. So never mind. I apologize. I completely take back everything I said because I think that's a great writing. If you look at it from that perspective, excuse me, and if that was intended, I love that. I love that, and I think that's great, and it speaks to her growth as a character. And so just forget everything I said about the visual style. I still miss it. I do still miss it, but oh yeah, I understand the lack of it within this episode, I guess.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. The first 3 episodes were just so good, and you know, even that first episode when we hopped in here, you know, we were just in love with it and just going on and on and on about it. And you know, in some of the later episodes after that, we said we hope it doesn't, you know, start to go downhill. We hope it doesn't sell. It's starting to look like it is because, you know, my main thing is just like, how in the world do we wrap this up in a finale? You know, I really wish that she would have never left Jersey City. You know, I think we should have stayed there the whole show, give us a little fun adventure of her finding her powers, maybe saving her friends a little bit, throw in Carol Danvers in the last episode and have her freak out because the Bengals, you know, are some 10 rings technology that her and Bruce Banner were trying to figure out in Shang-Chi. Right. Just give us that, you know, and it'd be great. It'd be amazing. I don't know. And like with Kamran getting his powers, it was just like, I don't even know if I'm using this word right, but it just felt so campy. You know, it felt so like Disney Channel
not real
type feel. Yeah, like he was just looking, he's like, whoa. And I was just kind of like, what is this, bro? You know, but yeah, I think that's my biggest gripe with this is that we have like 40 to 50 minutes next week. Yeah. And we have to do all of this stuff. But I guess we could talk about things we liked. If we hit everything with the negatives. I did absolutely love the intro. The intro was heat, bro.
Yeah,
like flipping
different
to
Marvel intro. That was so sick.
Yeah, dude, it was so fire. And then yeah, like the Miss Marvel title card. It was in I'm assuming it's Hindu because that's what they were speaking. Yeah. Or no, Urdu. Sorry, I apologize. They were in Urdu. So I'm assuming that's what that is. I have no idea. I'm sorry, but you know, we get the title card in a foreign language, and it looked absolutely dope. I think Aisha and Hassan's chemistry, or I think he pronounced it Hassan. Their chemistry was really good. I liked their relationship and everything about them in the flashbacks. And this might be a hot take, but I really liked the time loop. I thought that was so sick. Like that's such a good way to explain why they haven't been able to find the Bengal for all these years, is because technically it didn't exist in Kamala's hands until she gets her powers and goes back in time. It's just like this cool little time loop.
That was a really cool. Sorry to cut you off. I just want to say, like, that was a really cool moment too, and like that's why I'm saying, like, the partition stuff was really, really great. That moment where she realizes it was me. I was the person that saved my nanny and my grandma. Like that was great. That was powerful. And then so to get the rest of the stuff, it just, you know.
Yeah, I will say one gripe I had with that. If you're walking through partition, right, you're going through, you're panicking, you're surrounded by so much people because there are a ton of people there. and you see some girl with this ancient technology just putting all these magical steps. Not one person turned around and was like, "What the hell's going on?" They were all just like, "It's like, what is going on here?" I don't know.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
that's a gripe I had with that. Yeah, any of those cool moments you found in the first couple minutes?
Yeah. Also, we see her Nani as a little kid when she's saving her. After she falls off the light thing, she like controls them herself as a little kid. So like the little I'm looking at it now. As her Abu is still looking for her, she's like has her hand out, no Bengal on, and she's controlling this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so that they're leaning more into like Kamala had this within her already, and so how they're gonna unlock that is still yet to be seen. Probably with the Terrigen Mist, I'm still guessing, but I don't know. I thought that was really great too, again, because like it touched on her powers a bit more, and it was a much needed thing. The looks like the conversation with her and her Ami and her Nani was a lot longer than I thought it was.
Yeah.
But again, it sucks because I feel like we just looked at this as like such a bad episode. I know we harked on the bad things a lot and we didn't really expand on the good things. I don't really know how much more to expand on the good things though. Like they were good, and I'm praising them for being good. I think Aman Vellani was great in both. I think she's been great throughout the show. She hasn't had a bad performance, along with most of the other characters as well. I think her mother did a great job in this episode as well. I thought her mother did a great job in the last episode too. And I think what this harps on, I will say, I do like that they went to Pakistan, because I like that it gave us the culture, more than just like the Muslim culture. We got the Pakistani culture as well, just because it's all new stuff that we get to see, and like they're making fun of her for wearing jeans and stuff like that. That's kind of funny. But you know, beyond that, beyond like the cultural aspects, excuse me, of the show, it just didn't really nothing else from the writing really held up in these past two episodes. I loved seeing the culture, and I loved seeing the partition stuff. I loved it. I mean, I guess it's probably bad to say I loved it. It's a bunch of people hurting and running from their lives, but it was still great, and I think it was handled wonderfully. I can't speak to it exactly because my knowledge on the partition is very lacking, almost non-existent, in fact. But for what it gave us, I appreciated it. And then so that's why I think it hurts so much to, I don't want to say hurts too much. I guess that's a little bit traumatic, but like it goes from that great stuff, and then the lesser stuff, except for her conversation with her mom and Ani again. But it just goes to like the lesser rush stuff that, and it again, like Aiden said, it just leads me to believe that the finale is going to be just as rushed and it won't land like we hope it will.
Yeah, and I mean, you said in our Kenobi episode, our last episode, it's like, we're getting shows like The Boys and shows like Stranger Things, and it's like, I thought about that a little bit, and I was thinking back, and I mean, like, honestly, bro, the only like really good show we've gotten out of the MCU is Loki, and like in my opinion, I absolutely love Loki like so much. It was so unique. It was brand new. It introduces an awesome like villain. It does do the cliche Marvel formula of bringing a villain in the last episode, but it it still was just so amazing, and I love Loki, but everything else, like, for me, no other MCU shows really like stand out. I'm obviously I'm gonna watch them because like I'm an MCU fan, and like, to cover them, and they're gonna connect eventually, but then you think about shows like The Boys, bro. Like, I am so excited for this finale tomorrow. I
Yes.
cannot wait. And
Yeah.
every single week, we've been getting better and better and better episodes, all at least an hour long.
Yeah.
And they pace it so well that a 40-minute episode of Miss Marvel today, I told you, I checked my timestamp. I checked where I was at in the episode, and I was already done. And I was like, are you kidding me, dude? It feels like 20 minutes passed by.
Yeah.
Because of how fast it was. But then when I turn on a show like The Boys, I'm sitting there what feels like an hour and a half, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want this to end, but I want it to end because I need to like digest everything, and I want to go talk about it right now.
Exactly.
And even like Stranger Things, granted, some people, might say that they went a little bit too far, like having a whole movie in an hour and like 2 movies in their season. But god damn, did it pay off, dude.
Yeah.
And was like every episode was just amazing. And even if it wasn't those hour and a half, 2 hour movies, it was still like a good time. It was still an hour or more. And then I honestly, like you said it best, I just don't understand why Marvel can't seem to nail it down. I mean, even Peacemaker, bro, phenomenal.
Yeah.
And what, that had 8 episodes or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, I don't if it wasn't clear before, I think it should be clear now that the 6 episode format does not work. It will not work
Yeah.
unless you have just a perfect story to tell. And most of the time with MCU shows, that's not what they have. I think 8 is perfect. 9, all right, maybe, but you risk having some filler episodes where that whole week you're waiting for something to happen just to get like filler.
Yeah.
But with 8 episodes, I think that's amazing. I mean, dude, look, just like I can't harp on it enough. Look at The Boys season
Yeah.
3.
Boys is finishing with 8 this week, and it's been amazing.
Phenomenal. No, and absolutely no filler.
Right. Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's just like, what is Marvel doing? What is it? There's no way out of all these shows, like at least from my perspective, that out of all these shows, you've only found one director that made a good one. What is this,
Yeah.
like 7 shows, and Loki is the only standout?
Yeah.
I just absolutely don't get it whenever you have shows like The Boys and Stranger Things that are just TV shows that are being written so well and that are just so
Right.
good. And I don't even think you can turn around and say, oh, well, The Boys, give you a lot of like gore, or like they're more brutal to feast your eyes on. Like same with Peacemaker. Okay, well then look at Stranger Things. Like
Yeah.
granted they might be a little bit brutal, but like it's still by all means a quote unquote kid show. Like kids can
Yeah.
watch it. And if that's what you're aiming for with these MCU shows, then where's that quality?
Yeah.
I don't know, that's been kind of lingering on my mind a lot. And after this episode, I'm kind of like, damn, dude, like next we got She-Hulk. I don't even count I Am Groot, but next we got She-Hulk, and it's just like, will that be any different? How will it be any different? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It's something we talked about a lot last week, and I mean, the trauma dump, bro. It happened
Yeah.
in episode 5. How
Predictable.
how
Predictable.
exactly? How more
Yeah.
cliche and predictable can you get with your formula? Um, I don't know, man. It's just like it especially. I don't care if it sounds dramatic, but yeah, it especially hurts now with how good the first 3 episodes were. To
Yeah.
just have a show kind of digress like this, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
especially when you're going up with shows like The Boys,
Yeah.
where week by week it's just getting even better, even better. So I don't know, man. I hope something changes. I really hope the finale is good. I honestly, at this point, I really don't think it will be,
Yeah.
like just with how rushed it's going to be, because we know it's going to be rushed. And I guess spoilers. I mean, I know a reliable leaker did say that Cameron was going to be the big villain, which take that as you will. People are wrong all the time. This leaker's been wrong multiple times, but they did say that. And then after this episode, who in the hell else is going to be the villain?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the boys thing a little bit, because like I know people say that they rely on the gore too much, but I've talked about how I think they use it expertly, even in just this last episode. Sure, we see Soldier Boy, absolutely, spoilers, I guess, if you guys haven't seen episode 7 of the boys. But we see Soldier Boy just absolutely smashing down on Mindstorm's head. And like, sure, and maybe they didn't need to show us, I guess, but the fact of the matter is he's pissed. He feels, I don't know, I want to say he feels hurt, but and he probably does, but it just I know, like, wanting to sympathize with pieces like, excuse my language, pieces of crap like that is probably pretty bad. But I mean, you even feel bad for Homelander to a certain extent. It's I guess it's about empathy, not sympathy. Like, even if this person is a terrible person, you can still acknowledge the hardships that they have had and like how that might have affected them. It's not an excuse by any means. But anyway, my point being, he smashed him like over and over and over repeatedly in his head, and that just shows the anger from the betrayal, the sadness, the hurt, you know. And granted, it's just like a regular revenge type quest, but and you've probably seen that 1,000 times, but I mean, if it ain't old, if it ain't broke, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've talked about multiple times how I think The Boys uses, there are you know, exceptions. They don't always use the gore to a story perspective, from a story standpoint. They can kind of just do it in a flashy way. But I mean, there are times that they do, and even then, if you don't like it, it's the source material. Like, it's what the source material is. That's what the comic was known for: the amount of gore, the raunchiness, the craziness of it all. So I mean, if it doesn't work for you, I guess that's great. But I mean, you can't deny, even with that, set aside the gore, the writing is fantastic. It's great. You care about everything that's happening on scene at all times. And I know we're talking about Miss Marvel. I don't want to get off track, but it's like, that didn't happen with this episode or the last episode. I was absolutely bored when she's going up talking to this Red Dagger guy, and I rolled my eyes type bored when he mentions he would have been proud of you. And then that ending is like, oh my God, like, what are we doing? But I think there's something to be said about these shows. There was this guy on TikTok, I stitched him, and he said that you're supposed to look at these movies like a movie, or sorry, you're supposed to look at these shows like a movie. The first 2 episodes being Act 3, the second 2 episodes being Act 2, and then the third 2 episodes are supposed to be Act 3. And he said that we're supposed to look at it like that because a lot of people, their main takeaway from these shows is the pacing, and the pacing being wrong. And he said, you're not supposed to look at it as a show. If you look at it as a movie, the pacing is good. But then if you look at it as a movie, these movies, quote unquote, are 4 hours at the least, 4 hours long. Some of them can go up to 5 or 6 hours if each episode is an hour, which I don't think it's ever happened with these Disney Plus shows, but still, you get pretty darn close. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find a movie that is 4+ hours long that doesn't have pacing issues. That does, just because you look at it as a movie doesn't take away the pacing issues. And I think that was an example here. If we're supposed to look at these as a movie, this last episode being the beginning of the third act, what? This feels like leading into Act 2 type thing, especially with the partition. As great as the partition stuff was, that didn't feel like it should be leading into a climax. Not at all. And I think that touches on what you said. Like, this should have been episode 4. You know, I don't think, because like about middle of the movie length, if we're looking at these as a movie, this didn't set up movie wise. It wasn't great. The end of the movie is, I mean, I don't want to say it's going to be like Morbius levels of rushed ending, but you know, it's like, it's not looking good, you know? And I understand his take about people always complaining about the pacing, but if that's what the complaint is, that's what the complaint is. I mean, it's not a far-fetched to say, because look at, they do repeated things over and over again. Like we had the cliffhanger on episode 4, and then we got the emotional moments in episode 5, the super hard hitting emotional stuff. And it's like, do they think we don't see the pattern? I get that they stopped like this mystery villain thing, but I don't know if that was the case because of all the chatter online or what. I know this show had extensive reshoots. I remember that being news. So maybe, but I mean, just for what we're given, I don't think it's a far off complaint, pacing. And I hope Marvel's hearing us when we're realizing that we understand the pattern that they're displaying with these shows, and we wish it would change. And She-Hulk's 9 episodes. Hopefully that is different. Hopefully that will rope us back in. Like, the only other show that we had was 9. Well, I guess we had What If, that was 9 episodes, but What If was not good. Not good, except for episode 4 and a little bit of episode 2 with Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, Star-Lord.
Yeah, that's right.
But you look at like WandaVision was a ride, man. It was a ride right up until the finale. A lot of people fell off.
Exactly, bro.
And so I hope She-Hulk can do the same thing. I know there's already complaints about the CGI. I've complained about it myself. Aiden and I both have. Like, it doesn't look that great, but they have some time to touch it up. They have some time to finish it. And even if it does look bad, I'm not going to immediately write off the show as trash because of that. I know there's a lot of kids on TikTok that are going to do that, but I mean, I get it. It's hard. I'm sure these VFX workers are rushed. They are not given the proper time. Because I mean, if they can make Hulk look good, they can make She-Hulk look good. I get that it's a show, it has a lesser budget, but I think that they should be willing to put in the time for She-Hulk. But anyway, She-Hulk, I hope that it's like WandaVision. Like me personally, I didn't like the first 2 episodes of WandaVision that much, but after that, it took off. Like episode 3 through 8. Fantastic, especially episode 8. It's still my favorite episode of any Disney Plus show that we've ever had.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. The emotional beats. But that's the thing. And that still plays into this. It's like the second to last episode is where you get the hard-hitting emotional stuff. The penultimate episode is where you get this super emotional beat for the character. And it's like, you can do these emotional beats throughout the show. Like, you don't have to have one super hard-hitting episode, you know? And so I hope they're learning. I really sincerely do, because I'm excited for Secret Invasion after this, and I'm sure that's going to be a 6-episode event. And then we got Armor Wars and all that type of stuff, you know. So it's like, I hope they improve. I really hope they do. We're not trying to bag on it, guys. I promise we've liked elements of all the shows, including What If. Like I mentioned, it's just, for the most part, they fall flat. They aren't anything remarkable. Not that everything has to be remarkable, but it should still be of quality with, like, say, Shang-Chi. Like, that was it. Like, I mean, I guess I know this is a movie. I know that's a movie versus a TV show, but like, the writing is still there. It's still the same people working on it. Kevin Feige's still attached. Like, you should know how to incorporate certain things, especially if you're looking at these as movies, because apparently that's what Kevin Feige said back when Falcon and Winter Soldier was coming out. He said, look at this as a 6-part movie. And so if they're writing them like movies, why can't they be as good? You know, why can't they be memorable? And I know there's already discussion about Thor. We're not going to talk about any Thor reviews. We haven't seen the movie, guys, but we will be seeing it tomorrow. So we will have an episode coming for that, but that's besides the point. But talking about Thor, the reviews for that aren't that great. They are on the good side, but not great, and they're not bad necessarily. So I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people that the MCU is entering their flop area. They have hits, they have misses, you know. And honestly, don't trust these reviews. I say, because Multiverse of Madness, I think, was a little bit higher than Thor. This Thor movie,
yeah.
But I loved the movie. It's like top 5 MCU for me, probably. Maybe like a little bit less, like episode like top 6 maybe.
Interesting.
But you know, and look at like Eternals. I loved Eternals. I don't think it's top 6 or anything like that, but I loved it. I loved it for what it was. And so, I mean, end of the day, I wish they would realize what we're saying isn't like, we're not giving these formal reviews. Most of the people saying that there's a pattern here. We're not giving these formal Rotten Tomato reviews. And I know this scored pretty high, this show on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like a 98 or something. I just hope they're realizing that we see what they're doing and we understand it, and we're getting tired of it. And I think they did a little bit with No Way Home with that. Like, they acknowledged the Iron Boy Jr. stuff, Iron Man Jr. or whatever, in the movie. And like, sure, they might have been, however you look at it, they were making fun of the people that say that, or they were like acknowledging, you know, however you look at it. Either way, shows they're listening. It shows they're listening. So, you know, I hope that they take away what we're saying from this, and they make the changes that they need to make, because I really want to love this stuff. And I did love the first 3 episodes of this, but it's just, it has a trend of like going down, with the exception, I think Moon Knight episode 5 was fantastic. For me, Moon Knight was down, and then it went up with episode 5. So
yeah, bro, spit nothing but facts right there. I mean, I feel the same way. I really hope they can find something that kind of works for everyone, that kind of like gets away from this kind of format. I know one reason why I love Loki so much was because, I mean, the second to last episode, while it was like emotional with old man Loki sacrificing himself to build a little Asgard type place, it wasn't the typical trauma dump. You know, it did have the villain twist at the end that most of the shows had been doing, but it was still so unique in its own way, and just like we went to so much different places.
If anything, I
Um,
think that, sorry to interrupt you, I think the
no,
trauma dump was in episode 6, the finale. I loved that conversation between Loki and Sylvie, where he
yeah,
said, like, I don't want the throne. I just want you to be okay. Like, that's one of the top 10 lines in the MCU for me. That was fantastic. I've never really enjoyed Loki as much as other people have, like back from
yeah.
Avengers. I wasn't really on that train, but that was amazing for me. I loved that so much. But sorry, continue.
No, no, you're good. Yeah, totally. But either way, like it kind of feels different, you know. It gets away from all that. And some breaking news: they have been filming season 2, and we got to
Yep,
see
yep, yep.
some looks at that yesterday. So that's cool. But I don't know. To wrap it all up, it week by week, honestly, Miss Marvel has been digressing. Um, just being honest, I don't think that they can land the finale without rushing the crap out of it.
Mhm.
Um, but we'll see. Uh, I'm not as high on it as I was these past 2 weeks ago, but we're still gonna watch it, obviously, and I hope they can make it work. And from here on out, I hope they can start to land with these other shows, because I do want to enjoy them a lot. After the boys finale tomorrow, we don't really have anything besides She-Hulk and Andor in August, and so yeah, we'll see, man. What are your kind of wrap up thoughts?
Yeah, it's just, I liked some elements in the show. It just wasn't, everything that I would have wanted from it. And I don't want to I don't want that to sound like I wanted, like, oh, these Clone Wars flashbacks. I don't want it to sound like that.
Yeah,
I just wanted quality, I just
yeah,
wanted good stuff, not rushed endings, not faulty fake emotions because of some dude we knew for 10 minutes, you know? And I thought, like, again, there was some stuff that hit, but it just overwhelmingly, it wasn't, I don't want to say of quality again. It wasn't, you know, as great as what I have come to expect from the MCU in a sort of way. Um, I don't want to sound like an MCU stan or anything like that, but it's just, I find quality in a lot of the stuff that they put out. Like, a lot of people don't like Falcon and Winter Soldier. I love it. It's my favorite of the shows. Absolutely. And I acknowledge, like, the problems with the villain. I think that makes sense. I don't take away from, like, what you said about the villain. Like, I agree with you, if anything. But and then my excuse for that is just, I mean, MCU's always had bad villains, and some of those projects still get ranked rather high. But again, rankings don't matter. But I wanted more from this, and I just feel like I wasn't getting it. This didn't feel like a penultimate episode, as we talked about, and it leaves me worried for the finale, which is the opposite of how I feel for these other streaming shows, like we talked about. I'm excited for The Boys tomorrow. I am. Wait, are we watching another show? No, we're not. I was gonna say another thing, but I
no,
guess we're
but you
not
could
watching
say
it.
Stranger Things, like
Yeah.
how
Oh, yeah,
excited you
yeah,
were
yeah.
for
Stranger. That's
that.
what I forgot. Yeah, Stranger Things. I was excited for Stranger Things, and I'm not even like that big of a Stranger Things guy. Like, if I'm ranking what I'm into more, like, Stranger Things takes up a bit higher than Star Wars, but I wasn't like super super hyped for it. But it was still really really good, and that was like a 2-hour long episode of a TV show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know we're playing the compare game a lot, but like, if these other streaming platforms can do it, this multi-billion-dollar streaming platform should be able to do it as well.
Yeah, I completely agree, bro. I guess we'll see next week. I'm gonna get this up right now, and then tomorrow we should be back with 2 banger episodes, Thor: Love and Thunder and The Boys. So, that we should be back with a different attitude tomorrow, but it is what it is. We're not always gonna have banger episodes to talk about, like
Yeah.
we have been lately. If it's The Boys, then yeah, we will every week. But you know, other shows maybe not so much. So yeah, I will get this up, and then tomorrow, July 7th, I believe, we will have Thor episode up. Or actually, we might have it up the next
Yeah, the
day.
next day.
It's gonna be weird this week. I'm going
Yeah.
on vacation, so it should be it'll be kind of different, but if everything goes good, it should, both episodes should be up Saturday, or not Saturday, Friday, July 8th. So that has been Miss Marvel. Charlie, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Obviously, thank you guys for listening. If you're just listening, but you can find me on TikTok at It's Cubson. You can find me on Twitch. I'm gonna be at It's Cubson again. And then I'm on YouTube as well. I tend to do like reaction stuff right now, but I plan to put some more content out there. But that's just Cubson. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much again. We really appreciate you guys to keep coming back, keep going on Spotify. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We love it. We appreciate you so much. We can't put it into words, honestly. But thank you guys. And yeah, we will see you guys tomorrow with the boys, hopefully.
Yep. And we will see y'all tomorrow. Episode should go up Saturday, like I said. And without further ado, thank y'all for listening. We will catch y'all next time. Peace.
Adios.